I had promised myself I would never tell another man what I wanted in a man. I was going to allow for him to show me who he was. And if he aligned, he could stick around. But if he didn't, he had to go.
Welcome to Love Stories, a relationship podcast for successful women, where we talk about love, dating, relationships, and how great love stories are made. I'm Charlene Byars, and I'm so excited to share all the things that you can apply to create a beautiful love story of your own. Cheers to great love.
Hello, Winter. Oh my goodness, she's here. I'm so excited we got you on this podcast so quickly. Usually it takes a while for us to book you in, but I honestly think that the stars aligned and an opening came and we're like, oh, we need her. We need her on the show today. No, seriously. And I'm going to tell you all the reasons why. And I know for the listeners right now, you're like, okay, who's Winter? Well, she's going to go ahead and introduce herself in just a second. But before we even go there, I just want to let you know that this is going to be such a treat, ladies, and especially for my single ladies and, of course, my married ladies. Honestly, I just want to say Winter is going to share her journey with us today. And when I had a conversation with her, and especially in our pre-call, I learned so much, but not enough. I'm so curious to learn more today. But what I loved is she is truly the epitome of, when it comes to a woman really wanting to, create the type of life that she desires and what she wants and the success and the relationship and all the things. And even though she was married before and she really thought that was her trajectory and that's what she always wanted, she, had to go through all of these things. And I want to just say this. I really want you guys to hear this out and stay tuned for this conversation because great love is truly available to all of us. And I say this with all my heart. It first starts with ourselves and then how we can pour that on to somebody else. And it doesn't matter. I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, wait till you hear the story today. It doesn't matter what we've been through. It doesn't matter if we've had, great love before, or maybe we haven't, or we've been married or not married, or, we've really, really had a really bad relationship in the past. All the things, we all go through all kinds of things. But you guys, you could still find the perfect partner for you. And you can still have success, ladies, and you can still, be awesome in all those ways. So thank you, Winter, for being here. I know it's hard to put you on the spot.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, hon. So before we get really started, tell us a little bit about you and, what you do and what you did and, all the things so I can start getting going from there.
Absolutely. So I'll keep it as short and sweet as possible. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister and I'm a friend. Outside of that, I am a believer. I think that's so important for me to mention. And then I am a marketing communications professional. I am a business owner. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and I'm also a media personality. So that is a little bit about Winter in a nutshell. I know that's a lot, but it's my truth, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you guys, we're gonna unpack this. Okay, Winter, let's start from here.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about where you grew up. And where you grew up, where you're from,
Sure.
And did you grow up with your mom and your dad or one or the other? Any siblings?
Mm-hmm.
I love to get the history first before we start diving deeper.
Absolutely. So I grew up in a town called Jonesboro, Arkansas. So I am a true Southern belle. I grew up with both my parents. They were pastors, actually. And so I am a PK. I'm the oldest of three girls. And I always tell people I had a wonderful childhood. It was not perfect. We were not rich. We were not poor. We were, I would say, a lower middle class working family. We did not know that my parents struggled like they did because they always made sure we had everything we needed. And, we had a lot of love. So I always say it wasn't about growing up with a silver spoon in our mouth. We grew up with a lot of love in our heart and environment. So that was my upbringing. I was the problem child. And I say that lightly because my dad was very strict and he ran a very tight ship. So when I say I was the problem child, I say that in respect to always challenging and pushing back and being very stubborn and having a mind of my own. I would question everything and test the limits. And so that was very much my reality. And so I would say very thankful that my parents kind of kept a good eye on me, because if they had not, God only knows what my future would have been. So I'm very grateful for their upbringing. We were raised in church. I tell people we were the type of kids who were in church so much we played church at home. Like that was fun for us. And I know that sounds crazy, but when that's your whole world outside of school, that's really all you know. So that was my upbringing. I had a lot of family growing up. My parents are one of 11 kids each.
Oh,
So I come from a huge extended family. My dad's mom lived around the corner from us growing up, and my mom's parents lived about 20, 30 minutes away. And
your
so
grandparents were really close.
they were close.
Wow.
And so I grew up with all the family, the grandparents, the uncles, the aunts, the cousins. And I think that, lent to a very rich childhood, just growing up with so much community. So that was very good for me. I would say life started to, life shapes us, our environments shape us. And I would say I began to be shaped as I got into junior high or middle school, in high school. And I was a pageant girl. So I did pageants since the age of 5. And so I loved it. I loved competing. My talent was singing. I grew up singing in the church, so that was always very comfortable for me. And I started to get into the Miss America circuit around middle school. And so I like to notate this moment because it was something that really impacted my self-image, my self-esteem. I remember an older lady telling my mom within earshot, and of course, kids hear everything, whether we realize that or not. She said, she's a beautiful girl. She has a beautiful voice, but she will not go very far in this circuit unless she drops at least 10 to 20 pounds.
Wow.
And that...
hold on. Let me ask you this. Winter, how old were you when you heard this?
I was 12 years old.
12. Ooh, what an important time in our lives. Us girls going through puberty and our bodies changing. And it's so normal.
Yes.
But oh my goodness, how that affects so many of us women.
Absolutely. And
so how did that, when you heard that, obviously for the very first time, thinking, you're just kind of on your little way, doing your thing, you're like, I look pretty good.
Right.
When you hear this, how did that impact you? Like that's a really powerful thing.
Immediately I internalized that, and I developed an eating disorder. Like I just stopped eating. I just stopped. And so I don't even think my parents noticed that I had dropped about 15 pounds in like a matter of months. And
they were just kind of just doing their thing, right?
Sure.
You were just kind of, okay, I'm not going to really eat anymore. I don't even know what to do here.
Yes, definitely. So that really began a very real battle with being very self-critical, struggled with perfectionism, always wanting to get it right, look right, be the best, present the best. And I say that because as we progress through my story, this led to an attitude of looking like I had it all together, but really going through it internally and behind closed doors. And I think so many of us women in particular suffer in silence. And we're expected to have this image and appear that we have, all the things together. And that just developed kind of an unhealthy way of coping with difficult things. And so that was a pivotal change for me. I still did very well in school, was able to get a scholarship, completely paid scholarship to college, which was about 4.5 hours away from home.
Okay.
And I competed in a college pageant there and won my freshman year. So I completely
You were still doing the pageant thing.
I was still doing the pageant thing.
Still doing the pageant thing.
Still doing the pageant thing. I felt like I was good at it. It was something I enjoyed. But again, this weight thing was always kind of a looming back and forth merry-go-round for me.
Yep.
So freshman year was great. I won the title that year. Sophomore year, I was, kind of living high off my freshman year, and I ended up meeting my college sweetheart.
Okay. Well, hold on. Let me bring you back a little bit. That's good.
Sure.
Okay. Here we go. So you already told me from an early age, when you looked at how you grew up and your environment, it was, like there's no perfect, there's no perfect.
No.
I get that. But for the most part, you can say, you know what? Hey, we did pretty good. Yes. I felt pretty good. I had confidence. Obviously, you had some confidence as a girl, and you had that ability to, even though you're probably driving your good dad crazy, you know what I mean? But you were still, like, pushing forward. So that says a lot. That says a lot already about your personality. That's wonderful. Okay. And then, at an early age, you hear something that truly just, there's always this moment in time that something just impacts us and we don't understand it, right? We just don't understand it, especially if we're young. Are you kidding me? Yeah. And it just, it does a little, and it really does start shaking us.
Absolutely.
Little by little, slowly by slowly. And it just kind of goes on from there. I get that. Okay.
Yes.
During this time, looking back, overall, would you say that you were the type of girl that fancy the boys early on? Were you boy crazy, or were you more like, I want to go do this career thing? I mean, kind of where were you, when you were growing up?
Completely boy crazy. And I say that specifically because I was prohibited from doing so much.
Got it.
So when you're under kind of that strict thumb, your curiosity is piqued. It's like, what are you trying to keep me from? Like, what are you trying? Like, what is it? And my nature is very curious. Okay. So if you tell me something I can't do, then I'm going to try to figure out why I can't do it. That's just who I am. And so absolutely, by the time I got to junior high, I was, trying to sneak and have a boyfriend because we were not allowed. Okay. Very much into the guys. And I found out that guys were into me. So that was a new thing for me, like getting male attention. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of great. Exactly. Puberty, stroking of the ego was definitely going on. But again, dad ran a tight ship. So you could not just waltz, over to my house and think that you were going to date the Reverend's daughter. It didn't work that way.
It didn't work that way. But you were still, kind of behind the scenes, kind of like, okay, I'm curious here.
Trying to do as much as I could do within the window I was allowed. Like I said, our town was very small. My dad was very friendly. I get my personable nature from him. Okay. There is not a person in our town that did not know him and that he did not know. He never met a stranger. It did not exist. He would talk to, you could just be new in town and he would strike up a conversation and you would be his friend in 5 minutes. So there were eyes everywhere.
Okay.
So that when I say it was a tight ship, it was a tight ship.
Yeah, everyone knew you. He had all his minions out there.
Absolutely.
You're like, okay, what's going on?
Yes.
Okay, so are you in high school? Yeah.
Yes. Are you Reverend's daughter? Gosh.
Like,
yes.
No, I don't know who that is.
Don't know what you speak of. Yes. So that was, for me, then, get into college was freedom. Let freedom ring, because I was finally, away from that. And boy, oh boy, did I take advantage of the freedom. But still, always kind of, it's amazing how our upbringing impacts us. And I always felt like there was only so far I could always go. Okay. And so that was kind of always in the back of my mind.
Okay. That's cool. That makes sense to me. And if you go to college, and like you said, and then you found your first sweetheart, in college. When you were in college, I really, kind of hearing, it was like really genuinely your first time. It's like, okay, I'm kind of on my own now. I can kind of, do
for
things
sure.
and no one's watching me. And I'm gonna do some exploring. I'm gonna figure things out a little more.
Yes.
Where were you in terms of what you wanted to do for a living? Were you open to different things, or what was on your heart at the time?
No, I always knew I wanted to be a businesswoman. Like
Good.
that was my thing. I got into an organization called FBLA around my junior high school years, and I stayed in it through high school. And so I always saw myself, flying all over the world. I wanted to be an executive. That was always my goal. And so I was still very much on track for that. One of the interesting things that I always said is that I didn't want to be married and I didn't want to have kids.
Really? You said that, right? That was like kind of like something that you were like, I'm not sure about the marriage.
Yeah, not sure about it.
Not sure about it. Okay.
Not sure about it at all.
You're not sure about it at all.
Then I get hit with the love bug my sophomore year.
Okay, so your first sweetheart, what happened
there? Well, my oldest daughter happened. My oldest daughter happened, and I had to call my pastor parents and tell them.
You're like, oh, we're going to have a baby. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
How old are you, Mama? How old were you at the time?
19 years old. And I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I share this because, again, growing up in a very strict Pentecostal household, that was a big no-no.
Yeah.
There was a lot of shame and embarrassment attached to it, but I credit my parents for their unconditional love and support.
Oh.
And when I told them, my dad said, you know what? He calls me Wink. That's my nickname.
Okay.
He said, you know what, Wink? It's going to be all right. We're going to love you still, and we're going to love this grandbaby.
Oh,
and my mom said,
chill.
Yes.
Winter. Oh, my goodness.
Yes. And my mom said, Winter, if you need to come home, come home. You'll have a lot of help and support. You'll be just fine. But it's interesting. I mean, it literally gave me the strength and the courage to face the reality of the situation because I was so terrified. And I knew I had disappointed them. That's not what they saw for me, especially after what we had been taught and how we've been raised.
Yes.
And so, interestingly enough, my stubbornness kicked in.
Okay.
And I said, I'm not coming home.
Wow.
And I said, I feel so horrible that I had to call and tell you this news, but I promise you I'm going to make you proud. And I said, I prefer to stay here and figure it out. I don't know what that looks like, but I'll be okay.
Okay.
And so I opted to stay in school. I got a full-time job. I applied for every assistance possible that I could, got my own apartment, and I was just going to be content with raising this child and finishing my degree. That said, my child's, my sweetheart proposed.
Yeah. He proposed. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so
yes,
you guys, fall in love again.
Yes.
And how quickly did you end up, like how long were you dating the guy until you got pregnant?
Oh, it was not very long at all. I would give it about 3 months.
Yeah, and I know you guys know this, but I'm just gonna just say this because this, this is my situation too. It just takes one time.
Oh, that's it. That's it. That's all it takes.
Like I always tell people, I'm like, no, there's no, you just don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
We're gonna go there. You guys prepare yourself because it literally can take one time.
Yes, absolutely. That's all it took. So this is about 3 months in. And we subsequently ended up getting married about 5 or 6 months later. So later that year, in about 2 months before I gave birth, we got married.
Okay.
And our little family and life began. He was a college athlete, so he was still on full scholarship through his football scholarship.
Okay. So he's still going to school.
He's still going to school.
You're still going to school?
I drop out.
Okay, you have to drop out. Okay.
So I can work and kind of help manage and navigate. I learned that I was fertile myrtle and quickly got pregnant again when our oldest was about 6 months.
Girlfriend, hold on, slow down.
Yes.
Slow down. Voice.
About 6 months. Yes.
Wow.
Pregnant again.
So Mama Bear is like, okay, so I'm going this way. I'm exploring. I
Yeah.
fall in love. Okay, now the next thing. Okay, oh, God had another plan for me, and now I'm having a baby. Okay, that's cool. And now we're doing it again.
Yes, we're doing it again. And I am devastated because that was not the plan.
Okay.
I was just a lot more fertile than I anticipated.
Yes.
And
yes.
so I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I going to tell my mom and my dad that I'm pregnant again? Right. So I called them to let them know. And they both laugh and say, we do not care. You're married now. What do you want us to do?
Oh,
you guys just need to figure it out and tell us when our baby is here, when our grandbaby is here.
You're like, you're on your own now, baby girl.
Right.
That's it. You know what I mean?
Coincidentally, about 5 months after I found out I was pregnant, no, it would have been about 6 months after I found out I was pregnant.
Okay, this is the second baby.
This is the second baby.
Right.
And
the first one's 6 months old.
Yes, first one's 6 months old, found out I'm pregnant again.
Okay.
We did learn that it was another girl, so she was going to have a baby sister.
Okay.
And we're preparing for this second little girl. I'm about 7.5 months pregnant. I go in to do all of my routine work, and my doctor says, well, let's do a check on this baby and see how she's doing and growing. And the doctor turns blue in the face. And I'm like, is everything okay?
Yeah, you're like, hello.
They said, we're going to send you for another ultrasound and I'll see you back here in a little bit. So I go for this ultrasound. They send me back to the room. The doctor and the nurse comes in and they said, well, we're going to have to admit you. Unfortunately, we cannot find a heartbeat. And we need to go ahead and deliver this baby. And I'm just like, excuse me? Like, I'm still smiling. I'm still like not registering what's happening. And she said,
Winter, I want to just make sure. Because at this point, you already, you said how many months? 7?
7.5.
7.5. Okay.
Yes. Okay. 7.5 months. And so she said, you're going to have to call your husband. We got to take you over now. We're going to admit you like in the next 15, 20 minutes. And so I give him a call. He flies up there. Our sitter at the time, offers to keep our oldest daughter. I notify my parents. They're 4.5 hours away. So they get on the road to come be with me. And within 24 hours, I deliver a 1 pound, 14 ounce baby girl that has to be buried. So you can just about imagine how traumatic that was for me. I was 20 years old at the time. I don't know where the strength I have comes. I just feel like it's something that God has given me and I just possess. But literally sitting in a hospital, I'm calling funeral homes. I'm calling our pastors and I'm planning a funeral in the hospital, even though I've just given birth, to my baby girl.
Yes.
That said, we buried her a week later and I began the process of trying to move forward and put the pieces together. That was something I didn't anticipate. Interestingly enough, that thing about being fertile pops up again about a few months after we have this funeral. And I find out that I'm pregnant with my oldest son.
Wow.
So coincidentally, about 6 months after we buried her, I'm expecting again. And he's a healthy baby boy. We have him the following year. And we are kind of in this transition. My husband at the time is wrapping up school. He's entertaining the NFL. We're getting calls that he may get drafted. And so he ends up signing a contract to play for the Washington Redskins. And so in 2005.
So hold on, let me slow down. Hold on. Okay,
sure.
So it's 2005.
Yes.
You had your first baby girl, and then you had to. Wow. That's yeah. That's mama coming from a mama. So
Absolutely.
I have no
Yeah.
words. Yeah.
Mhm.
That honestly
Absolutely.
took strength and faith.
Mhm. Nothing else.
Yep.
Nothing else. Because
Yep.
when it's a difficult thing when you're going through postpartum and there's no baby.
Mm.
That's a different type of depression. And so it took me a minute. And then, a few months later, also being, I'm pregnant again.
Pregnant again.
So
And then
that,
now, yeah. So that was like such a whirlwind for you.
yes,
That's a
for
lot.
sure.
That's a lot going
A
on.
lot going on.
A lot
Absolutely.
going on. And remember, she already said her personality. And her
Yes.
personality is always like, okay, you know what? But we're gonna keep moving forward.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? And we're gonna keep things going and all that. But still having to, grieve and go through that process as
For
a
sure.
mom. Yeah.
For
okay.
sure.
So you're
Yes.
going through that.
Mhm.
Bless your heart. That's just a lot. That's a lot.
Yes.
And you're going through that, but you have a little baby yourself, and the new
Yes.
marriage, and the husband, and then he's
Yes.
going through all stuff. Okay, so now we're pregnant again with the
Yes.
boy,
Yes.
and you said that you had him, and then he got an offer to go to the NFL, or was it during this time? What happened here again?
No. So we have a healthy baby boy. About the following year after that, he's wrapping up his education, and we start to hear he's going to go to the NFL. So in 2005, that happens, and he signs to play for the Washington Redskins. Mm-hmm. We pack up everything and we relocate to the DMV area, which is where I live now. So that's how I ended up here. Life is great. We struggled a lot as a young married couple, but, finally for the first time, we weren't broke anymore. And that was great. We moved to
that helps a lot.
Oh, it helps quite a bit.
Yes.
We moved to a wonderful community in the DMV. And I felt like for the first time, things were starting to ease a bit. Okay. A couple years after we settled here, I got pregnant again with my third child, which I was fourth child. I don't want to
fourth child. Yes, your fourth.
So my fourth child, which is my youngest son, and I was about 4.5 months pregnant at this time.
Okay, and now you had the other two. Obviously, you had the little girl, you had the little boy, and now you moved, and now you're 4.5 months pregnant. Okay.
Yes, baby boy on the way. And
let me ask you this: and during this time, because I mean, it's kind of obvious to me, but I just want to kind of hear your part. It seems like you were just like, with Mama Bear. You're doing your thing. He's doing his thing.
Yes.
So were you still kind of in that realm, like trying to figure out? Eventually, maybe I want to are we going? Like, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom now, or do I still? What was? I want women to hear this. What was still you, because you've been so ambitious, right? And
absolutely.
Staying home and raising babies is huge.
It is full-time job.
Yeah,
full-time job. I'm a full-blown stay-at-home mom at this point.
Okay, you
yes, because we have so many kids that are little at this point that it just doesn't make sense to be at work when they're so small. Yes, so I was
full-time. Gotcha.
Okay. Full-time stay-at-home mom. Okay. Again, we're not broke anymore, so I'm able to afford support by means of a nanny. So we had a nanny. I could do some of the community events that they had with the team and with the wives. I was very active and involved.
Because that's and for those of us that obviously are not really familiar with that type of career and what happens. There's a lot of other stuff going on. There's a lot of moving
for
parts.
sure.
That's what you said. Okay. So it's not just he goes to work.
No. No.
It's like NFL, all the things, celebrities.
Yes.
So it's a different type of lifestyle.
It is.
Okay, I got you though. Okay.
I'm fully immersed in all the things. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so I felt good about it. I had a care provider I trusted. She was great with the kids. So, again, doing what I do, our family is functioning, I believe, like a well-oiled machine. In the summer of 2007, this is June, I am 4.5 months pregnant. I get a call from my mom that my dad has left her after 27 years of marriage. 27.
Were you like, who's calling me? Is this you, Mom? Like, that must have been such a shock. What was it?
Oh, completely. You could not have paid us to believe that something like that would have ever happened.
Okay.
And it was a pretty like brutal exit. Like she found out her retirement was cleaned out, her house was getting foreclosed on, her car was getting repossessed. Like she had nothing.
Okay.
And he was gone.
And he's gone.
He's gone.
Did you get did he?
We did talk to him. We tried to understand because again, we're adults. All of us are adults at this point.
Yes.
It's not like we had firsthand knowledge of our parents' marriage. Like I like to tell people that like kids, yes, we live in the house and we see and we observe, but we don't know what goes on between two people. Even when you're in the house with them, it's just not real life and the way things work.
And you know what? That's really good you're saying that too, because we as children, we have our own perception.
Absolutely.
Right? Like what's going on. And
absolutely.
What's happening based on our reality.
Yes.
But this is my saying, Winter. But what happens behind closed doors, nobody knows.
No.
Nobody knows. I know. That's real. It's real.
It's so true. So it wasn't about talking him out of it. It was more so just trying to understand and also asking him to be respectful in his exit because again, he was so brutal with it.
Okay.
And we personally just didn't feel like that was necessary.
Okay.
He refused to listen. And so he made his decision. It was what it was. So at that point, it became about trying to stabilize and support my mom so she could basically start her life over. Mind you, she got married at 19 as well. So she spent 27 years of her life with the same person.
And that's all she knew.
That's all she knew. So this was a devastating reality for her.
Yes.
That said, we were in a position to really assist her as she kind of made her transition. And then she actually was awarded something in a divorce that gave her the ability to start her life over. Okay. And so she had decided to make the decision to relocate to where we were. So she uprooted her life and moved, or she was going to uproot her life and move to where we lived.
Okay.
I did not understand how strategic God was with that happening when it did.
Okay.
About 2 weeks after we are going through this situation with our parents, I wake up to my husband at the time taking his phone in the bathroom, which was very strange.
That was this is not the normal.
That's not, I mean, not normal at all. And at this point,
how long have you guys been
married? 6 years.
So you've been with your man for 6 years. You guys have your routine. Everything's pretty good. And you overall, the relationship at the time, what would you say? You guys, how was your relationship?
Same old, regular run of the mill. Like,
good. Yeah.
Yes.
Like normal. You guys are good.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And again,
now you're like, why is he going to the bathroom with the phone?
It just didn't make sense. So I waited until he went to sleep.
Okay.
I bear crawled my little about 5-month-old belly.
We know, Mama, something's off.
Yes, it's not right. Something's wrong. Bear crawled, grabbed the phone, went in the bathroom, turned it on. And at that moment, I learned that he had been having an affair with our nanny. And not only was it an affair, she was also pregnant as well. So in the span of about 2 weeks, my whole life collapsed.
Yes.
It was just insanity. Mind you, I'm still very much pregnant, trying to get through this pregnancy. I ended up delivering my youngest son early.
You did.
From all of the stress for obvious reasons.
Yes.
My mom ended up relocating later that summer.
Okay.
Which was...
She was still coming.
She was still coming.
Okay.
But...
She's going through her own stuff.
Correct. She's going through her own.
Both of you.
We're good. 2007, I call it the year from absolute hell, with the exception of my son's birth.
Okay.
That was the only bright spot for me that year. But my mom moving was a huge blessing because I needed her. And I know she needed the fresh start. Yeah. And so we tried to make this marriage work. In retrospect, I charged that up to the core belief of divorce not being God's design and desire. So I wanted to give it my best shot. I tell people very openly and honestly that I stayed 8 years longer than I should have. Because unfortunately, the cheating never stopped. And about 2 years after I discovered the first affair and the child, I learned of another affair and another child.
Okay. So that he was, yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, Mama. And you're like, this is definitely not what I signed up for.
Yes.
Nope.
Not at all.
We don't want to talk about that. I mean, honestly, come on. Let's really go there for a second.
Yes.
You just found out that, you know what I mean, that obviously he's having another baby with your nanny. And I'm sure you had a cool relationship with the nanny because she's your nanny. So you're like, are you kidding me?
Yes.
And then on top of that, honestly, your focus is you're having a baby, girlfriend.
Yes.
I mean, really, how are we going to have a baby? And then now we're going to go. I can totally see this. I can see that. I totally. And you would take younger kids, and then I'm dealing with my mama too. How am I going to leave now? Also,
absolutely,
that's
too much.
That's too much.
Too much.
It's too much. You're like,
too much.
Make it easier for him. I'm gonna
yes. Too much.
Wow. And I can only imagine. I mean, we had that's like a second half of the show. I mean, finding out, no, seriously, like what, what he said and all that kind of stuff. Okay, but hold on.
Yes.
So you stay with the guy for 8 more years. And
absolutely.
Throughout these years, you're finding out, oh my goodness, there's more brothers and sisters and women and, okay.
Yes. And I have another baby.
And you're another one. Okay. So hold on, because you were pregnant with the little boy.
Yes.
And so then you had the little boy. So then how old was your little boy? Because we already know, we just,
yes.
stand by you, you get pregnant. We already know that about you. So
fortunately, there was a 3-year buffer. And so we had some reprieve.
Okay.
So we had a 3-year buffer. And then I had my youngest, who was a baby girl.
Okay.
And so, yes, about when she was 4, I made the decision to walk away.
Okay. That was my next question.
Yes.
What finally were you like, okay, I think it's time now?
So I was hospitalized for 2 weeks, and I believe, and this is where I tie this back into wearing this mask on the outside, this mask of perfection, this mask of everything's okay, this mask of I'm going to be the good Christian woman who's going to hold it together, and I'm going to pray us through. And my body was breaking down from the inside out. So I literally had a medical emergency that put me on my deathbed. I was hospitalized for 2 weeks, and the doctors were telling me to make my arrangements. And that's when I just had a real conversation with God. And I said, is this really going to be the sum total of my life? Like, I'm going to leave 4 kids behind.
Yep.
And all I have to show for it is this and the pain and the hurt, the betrayal. Like I don't understand.
Yes.
And so I really felt a lot of that was tied to God trying to get my attention, because at this point I was a bitter Betty times 1,000.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Everybody that had wronged me was going to get an ounce of this bitterness. Like, I was just mad and angry at the world.
Yep.
And I remember my mom saying to me, she said, "You're just a wounded bird."
And
I was. It was the truth. I really, really was. And it's so funny. I'm like, I'm so stubborn. God had to hospitalize me to talk to me.
He did. He's like, we're gonna
shut it down.
We're gonna settle her down, because obviously all these other things are doing it.
Yes. And so I felt like God and I had a real conversation.
Okay.
And the exchange was, if I ever was going to heal, if I ever was going to get better, if I was ever going to see the life that I had envisioned for myself when I was in middle school, in high school, like that ambitious girl that had all these big plans and dreams, I had to exchange my bitterness. Like, I had to let it go. And I mean, let it go without an ounce of care on whether or not they would get paid back, or if they would, see anything that I had been through. Like, I had to let it go and forgive. My only other request of God in that hospital was that if I ever found out he was cheating again, that he would give me the strength to walk away and trust him with what that looked like after.
Okay. Okay.
That was the agreement. My blood pressure had been about 200 and something over 157. Like stroke numbers. I had lost so much weight.
Scary, girlfriend. That is really scary.
I was 118 pounds with these numbers.
Wow.
And I remember a nurse coming in and praying over me. And she took my blood pressure and she said, you're just really scaring me. And she said, this is just not good. She said, do you mind if I pray for you? I said, no, ma'am, I don't. I said, I'm a believer. And so she began to pray and she says, Lord, all I ask is that you touch her body. She has babies to raise and you have a plan for her life. Like she has a reason and a call for being here.
Gave me
and
goosebumps.
She said,
gave me goosies.
Yes. And she said, all I ask is that I don't see her again. I don't want to work another shift and she's still in this hospital. Or even worse, she's gone.
Oh, what an angel.
Literally, I never saw her again. That morning, I woke up. The nurse that was on shift that morning came and checked my blood pressure like they would always do several times a day to monitor. And it was normal. For the first time in 2 weeks. They were treating me with 2 different blood pressure medications. And for the first time, it was normal.
Wow.
They sent me home. I know I probably scared the fire out of my husband at the time because I was just like, I forgive you. I really want to try to see if we can make this work. And I'm going to make an honest effort to walk in forgiveness. Not even 6 months later, I found out he was having another affair. And I said, I'm done.
God had another plan for you, girlfriend.
I'm done.
That was it. Was that it?
That was it.
Because you prayed. Because I tell you, there's this story. Oh, that's so good. Because listen, a lot of times we go through life, right? We go through life and we go through life, what I call, trying to do obviously the best we can, but we have our own lenses, what we think that is. But really, the reality is God always has a different lens for us. And it's something that we can't even see sometimes, but he does give us, and we don't see it sometimes. We just don't see it, but he does give us the like, hello, hi. You know what I mean? It's sometimes we're like, well, I don't know. Where, I don't know. I didn't see it. Well, there was the airplane. There was the boat.
So true. It's so true.
And all the things, but it does. It really takes sometimes. There's just a moment.
Yeah.
Clarity.
Yes.
That he's like, girl, if you're, hold on, let's get big. But no, I think he's like, okay, seriously, you don't see the raft right there. Jump on the raft. So that's what happened to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
And so I moved forward, but it began a very long journey of healing. Yeah. And I can imagine that. It's been almost 10 years since I left that marriage this year. So almost 10 years. Okay. And I tell people, I made so many mistakes in that decade because one of the things I learned through my journey is that when you get married as young as I did, and so much of your identity is being a wife and a mom, you lose yourself. And I realized once I divorced and I got back into the dating scene, I wasn't really dating from a perspective of understanding who I was, what I wanted, who I wanted, what I needed. It was very much dating from the perspective of, I just want to get back to where I feel most comfortable.
Okay.
And so I didn't vet the way I should have, which led to me going through a second divorce. I ended up marrying another gentleman who was much older than I was.
And you guys, and she shared a little bit. I can't wait. She's going to share this right now. This is so good. I mean, it's not, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, this is what I find so powerful about this conversation, why I was so excited. First of all, thank you for being here. This has been amazing.
Sure.
Because how she's talking about her journey and her story, I know, I mean, obviously we're not all married to, NFL, all that kind of stuff. No. But really the gist of it is so relatable.
Absolutely.
So many of us women find ourselves in these situations, either, some of us get married young and you know what, bless our hearts, it really works out. It just does. It really does work
True.
out. But so many of us, we get married young and we're
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't know what's going on, because you don't really, truly, genuinely know yourself. And if you're lucky, then you do get to meet a guy that you guys can grow together at a young age,
Yes.
which is
Absolutely.
wonderful. But sometimes, you know what I mean? You meet someone and you both are young and you don't know each other. You don't really
Yes.
know what's going on. And then life will take you on this different journey. Okay.
Absolutely.
And that will really start showing us, ourselves
Yes.
and how we believe in ourselves or what we
Absolutely.
don't believe in ourselves.
Mhm.
And so I can imagine after you went through that whole thing and you got through all that, and I'm sure you made good decisions, bad decisions.
Yes.
I get it. And divorce is just horrible. I mean, divorce is hard and yucky and all that. Okay. But I want you guys to hear this. So after she went through that divorce, there were still some things that she even said that she didn't clear with herself yet. She thought,
Right.
you know what I mean? Yeah, she thought she was kind of healing and seeing,
Right.
and she's a very independent, strong woman. And this is why this can happen to any of us.
Yes.
Okay. So now you're thinking at this time, you're through the divorce, your life is going on. And, like you said, you were dating and all the things. And then
Yes.
you find yourself in a situation
Yes.
that I would honestly say that, like I talked to you in the pre-thing, that you would never think that this would happen to you.
Yeah.
Okay. How did this happen? And tell the listeners.
Absolutely. So I will say one of the things we have to be cognizant of is who we are to others, how we appear to others. And I often say that people can recognize greatness in us before we recognize it in ourselves.
Mm.
And the danger in that is if you don't understand your own power, if you don't understand your own greatness, then you are a prime target or victim for those who do understand it and can therefore use it and manipulate it.
Okay.
And so at this time, during my divorce, one of the things I was doing right was getting back and doing the things that I loved and trying to reposition myself to chase my dreams again. I went back to school, got my undergrad, got my master's, started doctoral school. So I was doing those things.
You were doing the things.
Yes. I was starting to get into media and entertainment.
Okay.
I was starting to book gigs. I was speaking. During this time when I met this gentleman, I was teaching master classes all over the world, legitimately. Sold out audiences, going on tours. I was living the life I had envisioned for myself, but lacking that discernment, lacking that understanding of the power I carried, put me in a position to be targeted by someone who saw the opportunity that I could potentially provide. And he studied me, he learned me, and he showed up all nice and neatly packaged
this actually
up.
happens. Yep. This is so good. Yeah. And remember what she just said. And hold on, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
I really want the listeners to keep hearing this. So remember what she just said. She got through the divorce. She got clarity. She was like, okay, I'm doing that again. Okay, I'm going to do things. And then she went inwards, you guys, and she started, doing her career and helping people and all these things. And look what happens, because if we are not really, really in tune with ourselves.
Absolutely.
Okay, keep going.
And so I think I spent a lot of time healing the parts of me that never wanted to be hurt in a certain way.
Okay.
Versus really educating myself on what I wanted, what I didn't want, and things that were outside of the scope of where the source of my pain was. All I could think about at the time was just, I don't want him to cheat on me. I don't want him to, emotionally abuse me. Those things were most important to me. So if someone showed up and presented that they could not do the things that were most important to me, then I entertained them.
Yeah.
And he actually took it a step further because he was also packaged in a man of God. So this was someone that would pray with me. He didn't touch me before we got married. He didn't even kiss me before we got engaged. Like, he was essentially showing up as the knight in shining armor. And I was like, whew, okay, finally, I don't have to work as hard. This is some reprieve. And I'm going to be completely honest. When I think back to it, I'm like, Winter, you didn't even consider like the human part of yourself. Like, were you even attracted to the man? Did, like a lot of those things just went to the wayside because essentially he catered to the parts of me that was still healing from the trauma I had been through.
That's what I was going to say. That's so important.
Yes.
We are coming from trauma sometimes, and
Yes.
especially from relationships that ended. And if we are not careful, if we don't actually do the deeper inner work.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, keep going. This is you ladies, listen to this.
I married this man.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, our spirit knows.
Mm.
When I say everything that could have went wrong for that wedding that day, it went wrong. And there was a moment in which I wanted to call off the wedding, but I literally let the eyes of people being on this wedding and thinking he was such a great guy and such a man of God convinced me to keep moving forward when I knew something deep down was off. I couldn't put my finger on it. And I often caution ladies, it doesn't
Wait, talk about that. I really want you right there. That's so good right now. We're at that point right now. So I love what you're saying right now.
Yes.
There was something in you.
Yes, for sure.
And when you talk to women about this and you can look back,
yes,
what was it that you didn't lean towards that and you ignored it, Winter? Because you felt it.
Yes.
We do know, you guys, we've been here. How many times have we been in a situation? Come on, ladies, seriously. That we're like, oh, my body's like, oh, no, something's off. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. But we're like, no, he's going to change. Or maybe I'm being too picky. Okay. What do we do?
Listen, I tell people all the time, a yellow flag is a good enough reason to not move forward.
Oh, I've never heard that. That's good.
Because it wasn't a red flag.
That's good. Okay, but the yellow was very powerful.
But the yellow was a good enough reason. What does yellow mean? Slow down.
Ooh,
pay attention.
Yes.
Yield.
Okay.
And I believe that yellow flag was God giving me a wink to say, Winter, slow down.
Okay.
Pay attention. Yield. Don't move forward. Because some of us are guilty of running through yellow lights. And I ran through a yellow light when I knew I saw a yellow flag. Everyone might say, well, Winter, that's not that big of a deal. But it was. It was because what he did in that moment, and it was a reactionary type thing. It was how he reacted to something that had occurred that was just very off-putting to me. And our premarital counselor at the time said, oh, well, you guys can work through that. That's not that big of a deal. He's willing to work on that. When I say that was some of the biggest blow up arguments we had was because of that yellow flag behavior.
Really?
Absolutely.
So is it so let me ask you this. When you talk about, so for the listeners right now, when they're thinking about a yellow flag is not such an obvious, like, oh,
correct.
Okay. So, but it is a, ooh.
Yes.
I got to lean into this more.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when we have that, we need to lean in.
Yellow means slow down.
What did you do? You went through.
I went through, and I went through.
Okay.
This marriage did not last a year.
Okay. What did you find out?
I found out that he was a scammer,
an actual
master manipulator. He had scammed multiple people out of about $3 million.
Ooh.
A couple that was a part of this scam lost their entire retirement and savings due to him.
Oh.
And they were past retirement. So there's no such thing as going back to work and making the money that they had saved up. I got a call from 2 people that were involved and victims of his who actually were the first whistleblowers to let me know that something like this was going on. When I confronted him, he denied it, left and moved back to his parents' house.
Oh goodness. Well, that's obvious that it's happening. It's
Yes.
like, you were like, oh, wow, that's clear as clear can be.
Correct.
Wow.
And so I subsequently moved forward with filing for divorce. And here I was, absolutely blown that I found myself in a second divorce. I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Yep. How did I not see this?
Yes.
Yes. And you know what? And let me say it again, ladies. This is also not about blaming yourself.
No.
This is really about, you know what? We do the best we can for the situation and the timing and the healing and the knowledge and the learning and all the stuff that we are at the time that things happen, right?
Absolutely.
And at the time, you know what I mean? You honestly, I bet you did the best you can for the information you can. And all of us, how many yellows and reds and greens and all the colors, right? All the colors that we've either leaned into, or not leaned into, ignored, not ignored. I mean, that's why I'm having these conversations, you guys. That's why I'm having these conversations, so we can get educated, so we can learn, so we can apply things, so we don't have to actually continue on doing it ourselves. Absolutely. You can actually, like, if you're in a situation right now and you're like, oh, I feel yellow, what's your advice?
Oh, gosh. Pause.
Okay.
Take a pause.
Okay.
Really sit with what you're sensing and what you're feeling and what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say get support. Get unbiased support.
I love
someone that won't judge you, someone that won't question you, someone that will honestly hear you out. Because again, at the time, I did not have that. A lot of people thought he was a genuinely good guy. He had the wool pulled over all of our eyes. It wasn't until the information came out, and it was a boatload of information, that we were absolutely stunned. I hired a PI. Okay. The PI called me back with all of this information, and she said, he is not a good guy. I don't know how, you ran into him. And the only thing I can think is that he snuffed you out. Like that. There's just no way.
Yeah.
You would have.
He knew exactly what was going on with you.
Absolutely.
And how to find you. So this is not your typical just a jerk. No,
this is a very skilled individual. And when I say the bones that got dug up, he had 2 ex-wives before me. They both had been financially abused by him. One was, and this is why I say it's important that you pay attention, and this can happen to anyone. I don't care how smart you think you are. Yes. Between all of his ex-wives, one of us is an accountant, one is a U.S. patent attorney, and here I am, almost doctoral graduate. Yeah. It's not.
It has nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with intelligence at all.
Exactly.
And so I tell women this all the time, like, pay attention. You know when something's off. You know when something's not right. Do not crave love so bad. Do not crave the comfort of a man so bad that you're willing to overlook your discernment. You're willing to overlook those yellow flags. You're willing to overlook those red flags. But again, those subtle ones, the Bible makes a comment and it says those little foxes. It's not always the big bears. It's the little foxes that come back to bite us. So pay attention. And it's something that really pushed me to heal completely.
I love that.
Because I didn't want to move forward trying to fill the void or the loss of being a wife. I knew say what you were going to say. No, I said I knew I was a wife. And so it was a real loss for me to no longer be one. But I couldn't move forward just trying to be that. I needed to find the right person for winter. And if that meant I had to be single for a long time, or I may not find someone, I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay with winter.
Yes. With winter. Winter married, winter wife, winter not a
didn't
wife.
matter.
Winter
Yes.
doesn't matter.
Yes.
Is winter okay? First.
Period.
Wow.
And that was my journey from that point forward. That was about 4 years ago.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay.
Yes.
So you go through this whirlwind. I mean, honestly, and I know
Yes.
you guys, honestly, she's giving us like a little bit of behind the scenes, but there's so many more layers here. I know that.
Yes.
And there's so much else going on in your life.
Yes.
Kids, and then you were,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, you were traveling, you were doing the things, and you
Yes.
tried to get your social media. And she's a TV personality. She was on a reality show. I mean,
Yes.
guys, seriously, she had a lot. What was that too? What show? Where were you during that time with the show? Was that before you met him?
So coincidentally, our divorce plays out on the reality show.
Oh, you guys watch the show. No, I forgot
Yes.
this part. Oh my goodness. So not only are you in a situation that
Yes.
you're like, oh my goodness, I'm actually with a con artist, but now
Yes.
you're on a TV show,
Yes.
a reality TV show to make
Correct.
it even more. And this is all coming out on the show. Ooh.
So now you're inviting the criticism of public opinion.
Oh, because you have to go through that.
Absolutely. It was
Okay.
brutal.
That's
It was brutal.
brutal. Okay, mama. So you're going through this reality with this guy,
Yes.
which you're already in shock, and you're on the show.
Yes.
So you're dealing with that.
Yes.
And but then you're like you said, then the people on the show and the reality show and everyone's like,
Yes.
okay, you got to tell us the name of the show because you know people are going to be so curious.
So
Now.
yes, Love and Marriage DC, and you can find it on the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Okay, so now you're going through all of this,
Yes.
and then let's fast forward you. Okay, so now you're like, you go through all of this, and this is my question I have for you. And let's say the dust now starts settling. It's about
Yes.
4 years, okay? So you go through all this and the dust starts that you guys, because you can imagine all the dust, okay? All the dust. Woo, Lordy. Okay. Now, how did that truly, genuinely affect you moving forward? I have 2 questions here.
Mhm.
How did that truly and genuinely affect you when it came to, again, the matters of the heart?
Yes.
And what did you do this time differently to heal yourself? So if women are listening right now, and you believe that when you were married first and you went through a process, you thought you were healing yourself, you know what I mean? But you
Yeah.
obviously, you said, I needed more. I was kind of
Yes.
not where I needed to go. What did you do?
Shut it all down.
Mm.
Shut it all down. You know, there are moments that I call it a holy pause. You got to take a holy pause. Some pauses are holy. And they're holy because we need to focus on the subject matter at hand, which is us. And so I had to pause. I had to really, really commit to a season of healing.
Yep.
And commit to a season of learning and unlearning. It's
Good.
twofold.
That's good.
Learning and unlearning. There were some things that I had learned being a green little church girl from Arkansas, relocating to the big city. I had to unlearn a lot, but I also had to learn a lot. I also had to prioritize what I wanted. And I had to prioritize who I was and the life I wanted and what I wanted for myself. Like, I had to be selfish. And that's very difficult for moms. That's very difficult for wives because we put so many other people first. But this was the one season where I granted myself permission to be selfish. I was going to do all the things: heal, travel, live. How many of us don't even live? We're alive, but we don't live. And I was going to live for the first time in my life. And that was my focus. Speaking of focus, I went to a location in DC called Focus to a business networking event. I was scheduled to speak that night, pouring down raining. I almost canceled, but I had an obligation, so I went anyway.
Okay.
And so as I'm networking with the people and the individuals in this event, the DJ says, I want everyone to turn to the person next to them and introduce themselves. So I turn, look at the person next to me, and there's a gentleman who introduces himself. We say hello, great conversation, not thinking anything of it. He says, hey, I'd love to meet up in a couple weeks. Here's my card. Are you available? Maybe we can talk about some potential business opportunities. It seems like we have a lot of synergy. I said, sure, no problem. He said, I'm going out of town. When I get back, I'll message you to set something up. He goes out of town, comes back, messages me. We set something up. We meet for coffee in DC, which turns out to be a 2-hour conversation. And we are just stunned because, again, we feel like we've known each other all of our lives. We're both church kids. And so his dad was a pastor. My dad was a pastor. His, parents went through a divorce after many years of marriage. We just had a lot in common.
Yeah.
So we offer to meet again because we really didn't get to discuss any business. So we say, hey, let's get to the business, meet up the following week. We meet up again. Another 2 hours goes by. No business. But hey, we decide at this point we're going to be friends because clearly we just have so much in common.
Yeah, you guys are,
right. So I reach out to him and I said, hey, I have a holiday networking event. I would love to invite you out as my plus one. And he says, sure, no problem. What is the dress code? I said, well, it's a holiday party, so wear Christmas colors. I said, I'm going to wear red. Feel free to choose from red, green, white, blue, figure it out.
Yeah.
So we get to this business networking event. At this point, I'm kind of going through a personal transformation. I'm trying to lose some unwanted weight I have. And I decide that I was going to wear this red dress, but this red dress does not fit anymore. It's too big. The only dress I have in the closet that I can currently fit for this type of occasion is a green dress. So I get dressed, head out to this event. He calls me and says, hey, I'm already here. Have you made it? And I said, no, I'll be there in about 5 minutes. He says, fine, I'll wait for you when you get here. I get there. He's wearing a green suit. And I'm like, well, this is strange,
That's very serendipitous.
Right. I'm like, this is very odd.
How we mentioned.
Exactly. So everyone thinks we're a couple, but we're legitimately not a couple. And
you're legitimate friends. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, no, this is my friend. We're just, it's fine. Don't be too, excited about this. All that to say, we continue this friendship. And about 4 months later, we have our first date.
Wow.
And when I tell you, it has been the most seamless. I hate to use the word easy, but I don't know. I'll say the smoothest interaction I've ever had in my life. It just was not hard. And so I was very nervous. We both had been married twice before. We had that in common. So we both were treading very lightly, very cognizant of not wanting to make the same mistake, not wanting to rush. We wanted to take our time and really get to know each other. But we were falling in love during this point. And it just became pretty clear about 6 months down the road, like, okay, so what are we doing? We have that conversation, like, what are we doing? And so we make the decision and just make it official. And we begin the process of getting to know each other on a deeper level, meeting each other's families, meeting each other's children. And this begins a beautiful journey that really kind of came to a head this year. And he proposed in February and we tied the knot on May 8th.
No! You guys, I already knew this part. I was so excited. I couldn't wait. I was like, because you guys know I've had her on for so long, but I even told her in the beginning, I said, I promise I'll get you off on time. But wasn't this so juicy? I mean, it was so good. I was like, no. We gotta keep going. Okay.
Yes.
So you guys, honestly, that just is so awesome.
Yeah.
Because not only that you have been on this journey and you've gone through all these things, that it wasn't until you as a woman that you finally did your own true inner healing and working and get really clear,
yes,
laser super clear and focus and did things completely differently. And wasn't even like, I know you were open, but you weren't even looking.
No.
And that's when it happens, right? Because you weren't looking.
I was not looking.
And that's when it happens, when you truly come to a place in your life that you have such a different peace.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You're like, oh, I don't need a man. I want a great man, but I don't need one. We're good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I want one. Yes. I want a partner so we can be in alignment together.
Yes.
And when you started telling me about your story and your man, and I wanted to say this on our pre-call, and I've said this before on the show, on our pre-call, she was like, I don't know. She goes, I honestly, Charlene, it was like easy. And I'm like, okay, listen, Winter, that's perfect, actually.
Yes.
Because there is something really beautiful, the slow burn, when it doesn't feel anything else but just comfortable and easy. And it's like, God, this is like, there's no weirdness with us. There's no tension. There's no yellow flags.
No, not
There's no
a one.
There's no, I don't know what color.
Not a one.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
a one. It was just, and then all the things, because again, this is another tip.
Yes.
I had promised myself I would never tell another man what I wanted in a man.
Oh, because you already know.
I was going to allow for him to show me who he was. And if he aligned, he could stick around. But if he didn't, he had to go.
That's it. Right there. Mic drop. Okay. One more time. Okay. So this time the difference was you weren't going to say, oh, I want this.
Nope.
No. You're like, no, I already know what I want. And so
absolutely.
That's right. You guys, that's how it works. I already know what I want in a person. I already know my values. Yep. I already know where I'm going in life. And if this man is in alignment with me, we're good to go. If not, that's okay too. But I don't want someone to try to change for me.
Nope. And I'm not going to try. I'm not changing myself for someone. I like who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am. I know who I am. And I don't have to force anything that's meant. So if he's in alignment with it, we both will naturally be complementary, will align. It will feel as if it's easy. And we've been through a lot together. Yeah, but it's never been hard to choose each other. In fact, I'm a very private person. One of the things that happened as I was going through my healing journey, I developed autoimmune disorders in response to all the bitterness and yes, our bodies respond that way and to the trauma. And so I was always very private because I didn't want people to pity me or judge me. So I never discussed my health. I just don't. Most of my friends have no clue. Well, if they're listening to the podcast, they know now. They're probably like, what?
You're good now.
I just don't, it's not something I wear as a badge of honor or I publicize. Unless I'm doing something where I'm raising awareness, you're not going to hear me talk about it. I'm never going to complain. I'm not going to say, woe is me. I'm going to keep moving and live my life like nothing's wrong. All that to say, last year, he didn't even know, but I had a procedure. And I just told him, I said, hey, I'm unavailable Thursday. I'll call you on Friday because I'll kind of be out of commission. And he was like, what do you mean you're out of commission? And I said, oh, nothing. I was like, it's something light. I said, I just have to go in and out for something medical. And he was like, okay, so what is it? And I said, no, I don't really like to talk about it. He said, okay, no problem. He said, I'll give you some time. And he said, and then we're going to follow back up. And I was just like, okay, like that, that's a little uncomfortable for me because I just don't like to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So he waited about 48 hours and he says, okay, I'm ready now. Let's talk. What's going on? What do you have to go in for? And so I was like, oh gosh, I was like, please don't make a big deal about it. I'm just going in and it's an in and out thing. It's something I have to routinely do because of this condition I have. I'm perfectly fine. Yeah. I'm good. My oldest daughter is going to drive me and pick me up and I'm going to sleep because I'll be on medication. And then Friday, I'll be good as new. He said, so you wouldn't ask me to take you to go? And I was like, well, no. I mean, I said, I wouldn't expect that of you. He said, okay, we're building a life together and I want to know what's going on. I'm going to call my secretary. She's going to cancel all of my appointments and I'm going to come take you and make sure you're good. He literally canceled everything, stayed at the hospital with me the entire time.
He's like, baby, we're in this together.
It shook me to my core, because as a woman who's so
Oh,
used to carrying and handling and doing so much, it was the first time I felt like I could rest
rest, mama. You
and
could
I
let
could be
go.
taken care of and I could be nurtured and cared for. And
Mm,
so we always laugh and joke because he always does the most. But when I tell you, not only did he come and make sure I was good that day, the following day he has groceries delivered and
oh,
he's ordered everything you can think of and then some. He has like 3 of everything. I'm not even kidding. So we just moved into our new house and I have a tea drawer. If I open this drawer, there's multiple boxes of the same tea box because that's what he does. He was just, I just feel like if you need one, why not have 3? I'm like, I didn't need 3 boxes. I'm one person. I'm not going to drink that much tea. But he was like,
thank
no,
you.
I just wanted to make sure you're good. But again, I feel like when we truly heal, we release and we relinquish and we truly understand and learn ourselves and we grasp a hold of what we truly want and desire. God rewards us with more than what we could ever ask for. And I always like to say with my husband, I got the trifecta. I got the lover, I got the best friend, and I got the business partner. All the things that I would have wanted in a person, he is that person, but not because I asked for it. It's because I finally asked myself and I showed up as what I wanted, who I am. And here we are. It's a beautiful thing.
Wow, girlfriend. That's amazing.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Because what I love, if it can happen to you, you guys, honestly, it can happen to anyone.
Anyone.
Anyone, girlfriend. Anyone. We
Anyone.
all have this within us.
Yes.
We all have this within us. And what I love too, there's so much here. And I you know, don't get mad at me. I'm sorry I'm keeping you long.
It's okay.
Okay. They're gonna be like, Charlene, there you go again. You guys, but these conversations are so good. You know, I couldn't just leave it there. Are you kidding me? No, but you know what I love too? Another thing that you said. And again, you know, love and healing, it is available to all of us. And we have to be able to really go through our own journey, our own healing, our own
Yes.
discovery, and not having to fit into anybody. No, 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 no. And what I love, something that you said too, was for the first time, the difference, and I was asking you, what was the difference between him and all the other men? This one showed you by his actions. It wasn't just him just thinking, you know what I mean? Just talking away. No, you're like, I have nothing to lose here. I'm not going to do anything. I want to see who he is, how he's really going to show up. And since you met this man until now and you're married and he's so juicy, you guys have this beautiful relationship. Has he been showing up?
Consistently.
There you go.
Consistently. In fact, he knows I love flowers. We just moved into our new house.
Yes.
He said, I had to come back by today and give you flowers in our new house. So they showed up with flowers today.
Oh, that is amazing. And you are glowing.
Oh,
you are
thank
glowing. You are like glowing.
He's a good man, Savannah.
He's a good man. And you know what? I just love this story so much because it just truly gives us hope. Yes. You know, it doesn't matter, like I said earlier, you know, and I'm sorry we've gone through some hard stuff, ladies. I get it. I know. I understand. It sucks. It does. But there is truly like light at the end of the tunnel.
There is.
Because regardless of what we just said, and she went through, like, honestly, hell and back and all those places. But in the end, she was able to heal. She was able to keep moving forward because, you know, you're a stubborn woman. You're like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to figure this out. I love that about you. Absolutely. And you know what? And you kept going and you kept yourself open and you kept yourself in, you know, in a position that, okay, I'm going to do this eventually. I'm going to completely do this differently. And now that you found yourself in this beautiful relationship with a wonderful man and you guys are glowing and you guys are happy and it's so awesome.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much.
I know, seriously, how do we get into your world? You know, if women are like, oh, I want to hear more about her. What book has she read?
Oh
what
my
is
gosh.
this? Seriously? How do they get into your world? Where do you hang out?
Oh,
how can
goodness.
they follow you?
Absolutely. So I do offer um, professional services and support to women who definitely want to heal and live the life that they want and desire to live. So I don't like to consider myself a coach because I just think that's so overused, but I'm an accountability support. I make sure that we put the things in place that help you grow, that hold you accountable, that really pull the greatness out of you. So we quit hiding and sleeping on our gifts. So if you are a woman that says, oh my gosh, especially if you're over 35, because the world tells us that once we hit that mark, we're on a decline. But I'm here to say some of my best years have been since I turned 41 years old. I'm 43 now. The last 2 years have been amazing. Like, I just sometimes, like, the last few days, I have just had to sit and thank God. Like, you have brought me such a long way. Like, you have truly kept me. You have truly covered me, and I'm grateful. And so being in a position where I have the experience and I know how to navigate the toughest parts, toughest moments of life, I feel like I'm well equipped to help women walk through
Oh,
theirs
yes, you are.
and help them experience the fruits of our pain, because it's not always about our labor. There's fruit that is attached to our pain as well. And I tell people, you have suffered too long to not experience any good. And so let's get you there. Let's do the work to get you there. So you can find me on YouTube. You can find me through my YouTube channel, Winter Woman Land. I'm on IG, TikTok.
What was it? Winter what?
Winter Woman Land.
Oh, I love that. That is like a winter one. What? Oh my goodness.
And I have a great community over there. We're growing. I give tips, nuggets, wisdom. You get a chance to peek into my life over here with my little family. And I love it. We've been growing steadily over the last year. You can also check me out on my website. It's winwithwinter.com. And so if you want to win in your professional, personal, or spiritual life, look me up, book a session, and we'd love to work with you. And then all the social media platforms. I'm Simply Winter is my hashtag, is my tag. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X. I'm on all the things. So just look. I'm on all the things.
Yes. I hang out a lot on Instagram. She hangs out on Instagram too, but she's on everywhere. TikToky, everywhere. Everywhere. You just,
for sure.
Find her. As fabulous as she is, she's that fabulous. Like, seriously.
Thank you. So yes. And then, I do speak. So I always tell organizations or people that are looking for a speaker, motivational, inspirational, especially if you're speaking to or serving a group of women, I would love to share my story and hopefully encourage them to live out loud, love out loud, and just embrace who you are. Like, I think that's the key to really living the life that we want.
Wow. Well, that's it right there. That was so good. You guys, oh my goodness. What a story. What a journey. What a beautiful woman you are. Seriously.
Thank you.
From the inside and the out. Like, that was incredible. Thank you for sharing with us today. Thank you for your inspiration. And you guys, get in her world. We met once. It's the second time. I just love her to pieces already. You know what I mean? I just seriously, we would be like the best of friends. Get into her world. She's a real deal. She's a genuine human being. She's just so smart, so loving, so kind. And I'm just so grateful that she was on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And next time, cheers to great love.
Let's talk about the tip of the week, which is start where you are, but don't stay there. We all go through seasons that shake us, seasons that make us question who we are, what we're capable of, or if love will ever find us again. But the truth is, you don't have to be fully healed or have it all figured out to take your next step. Start with what you do have, your heart, your faith, your desire for more. Then take one aligned step forward. Maybe it's reaching out for support. Maybe it's choosing to forgive. Maybe it's finally deciding that you're worthy of love and a beautiful life. Whatever it is, just start. You're allowed to rise again. That's a wrap. This conversation with Winter left me deeply moved. It reminded me that no matter how much we go through, the losses, the heartbreaks, the betrayals that shake our foundation, it's still possible to come back to yourself. It's still possible to believe in love again. Winter's story is one of those that makes you pause. Because if a woman can go through that much and still choose to open her heart again, to believe that love is real, that she still has purpose, that her story still can be used for good, then maybe there's something in there for all of us. What I took away is this. You don't have to give up one or the other. You don't have to choose between building a powerful life and having a great love. You can have both. You're allowed to have both. And whatever it is that you've gone through, I want you to remember this. There is always hope. Don't give up on love, and don't give up on your dreams.